Hey everybody, Paul Foster here with Secondhand Productions, and today I want to talk about cameras. So as you all know, we rented the Sony a7S Mark II to shoot our most recent project, In Plain Sight, which is a short film that we're hoping that when it's all done, we get to take it to festival and everybody will love it, and the skies will open. And like every filmmaker. So we did use the Sony a7S Mark II. We had a Motobones speed booster that took us from the E mount on the Sony to an EF mount so I can mount my Rokinon glass. But I'm going to cover all that in just a second, so don't go away. Right now, what I did right before I had to ship that camera, I sat down for a few minutes. You'll have to forgive me. I was having massive allergy. My eyes are all jacked up. But I took the time to talk a little bit about the pros and the cons to this camera and having it on set. Now, we live in Texas. It gets hot in Texas, and it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad thing. Don't go away. I'm going to tell you whether or not that Sony a7S Mark II is worth having on your set for an indie film or any production for that matter. So check this out. So here I am standing in the set of our latest project, In Plain Sight, and we just wrapped yesterday on our principal photography, and I just kind of wanted to give you guys a quick review of the Sony a7S II that we used on this project. It was 4 days of pretty extensive filming. We did have the Motobones adapter. We were using Canon EF mount glass. We had standard LS lenses, plus we had a set of Rokinon cinema lenses. And we ran an S-Log3, and that was the first time I've ever used S-Log3. So one of the things that kind of jumped out at me is the record button. When you got this thing rigged up, the record button's in a really awkward spot. We had problems with that. We also had a lot of problems with this thing getting hot, and I'd heard about that happening, but I figured I really wanted a good low-light camera. This was considered one of the best low-light cameras out there that you could get, and so the downside to running an S-Log3 on this is its native ISO is at 1600, and so it's fine. You need to run about 2 f-stops short, lower than you would expect outside, so you make sure you don't get any clipping. I looked at some of the footage. We were running full on. I looked at some of the footage. It was great on the S-Log3. The problem you run into is when you get into darker areas, it introduced a considerable amount of noise into the shots, so it was important. Then we switched to the Rokinon 1.5s, and that helped with a lot of the noise by adding, the faster glass. But all in all, I mean, it's a good low light camera. It overheated a lot. I mean, it was a constant problem. Excuse my eyes. I'm tired, and 4 days of nonstop filming. But if you're just starting out and you're not sure if you're going to rent some glass, I've always thought good things about this, and I always wanted to have one of these on our set, so we rented it. And I gotta say, I don't know that I would rent it again, because the pros for this lens and the cons are a little bit more when you're on a film shoot. So this is good for pickup shots. It gets a great shot, there's no question about it. I mean, we got some beautiful shots with this thing. But then we had to account for a lot of different things. We had to reshoot shots, scenes that where all of a sudden the camera just decided that it just wasn't happy. So and then we ended up with a lot of artifact in the shot, a lot of noise, and or it go really dark on me. So if you're an indie filmmaker and you're considering the Sony a7S, I would say great camera in normal weather temperatures. Don't get it too hot because it's going to shut down, and you're going to have to go cool it down for about 20-30 minutes. The batteries, for some reason, inevitably we would have, if it went into a standby mode or stuff, we'd have to pop the battery out and plug it back in for it to kick in. You are going to have a micro HDMI connection for your monitor to go to this camera, and if you're going to have a Motobones adapter, you're also going to need to power, if you're going with EF, so you can power your zoom lenses if you got them, you're going to have a power adapter for that Motobones adapter. You're going to power attachment. So other than that, for the most part, I think you'll see when you see the film, we shot the whole thing in 4K. When we got into the set, because it was so dark, we switched from the S-Log 3 and we went with the Cinema 4 or Cine 4. It reduced the amount of, it just reduced the amount of noise. I thought it, overall, I don't think I don't think I'm the most qualified person to get into the technical aspects of S-Log 3 versus Cine 4. And there's a lot of videos out there that you can check on. But I thought that as far as performance-wise, the Cine 4, while it does appear to add saturation to the image, and so you're not getting a real raw file like you would with the S-Log 3, the overall quality of the image is much, much better in low light situations. So if you're going to shoot indoors in low light situations, you definitely want to make sure you light it well if you're going to shoot an S-Log 3. Another thing is with this camera that I didn't know when I got it, and I found out after talking to another filmmaker, and I talked to his director of photography who owns one of these. If you're shooting with a lot of LED lights, you really got to have the higher end LED lights where the cycle speed on them is faster than the shutter speed on this camera. Because otherwise you're going to end up with what I call the Hertz bars, where you get these kind of hazed gamma bandings across your footage, and you don't want to do that. It's not worth it. I found by just I went with halogen light bulbs, and I removed all modern day LED lights from our shots, and so I had the halogens and I had the tungsten lights, and then I was fine. So we used a lot of natural lighting, and we just stripped out all the LEDs because after talking to the DP, he kind of tipped us off that you got to go with either quasar or ice LED light panels. They have a recycle rate on the light that's going to be faster than the shutter speed on this camera. So that's the best advice I could give you. I mean, it's not a bad camera. It is a great camera, and we got some great shots for it. It's just, it definitely has some cons versus pros. And if you're going to be shooting in heat, I don't recommend this camera. I think it's just going to overheat on you. It's such a small package, and it can get hot so easily. And we had to stop quite a bit, take it in, make sure it was cool. It did shut down on us a few times, especially filming outside here in East Texas in the middle of summer. Not ideal camera to be doing that. Okay, so there you go. That's my take on the Sony A7S Mark II. I hope you found that useful. If you're a budding filmmaker, or you're just getting going, or you're thinking about upgrading for a special project you have, I hope you found this useful. All right, so be sure to hit that button down below, hit that bell so you can find out more as we move forward with our other topics. We do how-tos on visual effects. We talk film. We talk anything in my Any Life series. So don't go away. Come back. Send us questions. If you want to reach out to us, you can hit me up on Paul_SHP at Twitter. And I will definitely like to see what your thoughts are on any of the projects we're working on. And then if you want to follow us, you can follow us right here on YouTube. You hit that big red button right down there, and then you hit that bell so you get the notifications. Or you can also follow us on Facebook. We have our Secondhand Production Facebook page, the In Plain Sight Short Film Facebook page, and if you're really, really cool and you want to know absolutely everything we do, you can join the Secondhand Productions VIP group. So we'll see you next time. Y'all be good, and have fun.